Hello everyone and welcome to the Bacon Boss's podcast, Confessions of a Bacon Boss. This is where we share real stories from behind the scenes of bacon businesses. The wins, the wobbles and the lessons that you only learn by doing. We are Charlotte and Jo, two northern girls who built our own bacon businesses through trial and error, consistency and a hell of a lot of showing up. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Rain Accounting, an expert accountancy firm who support bacon businesses and small business owners to feel confident with their finances. Rain Accountant was founded by Nicole, a straight-talking accountant who understands the reality of running a business alongside real life and believes accountancy should feel supportive, clear, accessible, and most of all, not intimidating. Bacon Bosses is the community and business behind this podcast, created to support hobby bakers and bacon business owners with practical guidance and genuine support. That support also lives inside our membership, the Bake Boss Club, where bakers get ongoing help to build success on their terms. This podcast is one part of that. Honest conversations, shared experiences, and a reminder that you're not doing this alone. Welcome back to Confessions of a Bacon Boss, the messy and marvellous truth about bacon for a living.
So we are Charlotte and Jo, and today's guest has a story full of food, family and Flamazing sparkle. We are chatting with Symona, the baker behind Flamazing Bakes in Buckinghamshire.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Symona's known for her show-stopping celebration cakes, treat boxes, and her really absolutely lush fondant biscuits. But she also brings something extra special to the table as well. She's got a background in teaching, she's got a love of seasonal food, and a passion for making mealtimes joyful for families as well. So welcome, Symona. We're so happy to have you on our podcast. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good now that I've warmed up a bit from my experience this morning.
Simona's had a little bit of a stressful day. I'm sure we'll talk about it. So just to start with something light then, what would you say is like your ultimate Flamazing bake that never fails to impress people?
So I noticed that a lot of families are kind of stepping away from like the big celebration cakes, partly because obviously they're quite expensive, but also because sometimes they don't like get through them. So obviously that, you know, you cut them for the celebration and there's loads left and it just gets left in a cupboard somewhere and what have you. Yeah. So I decided to try and come up with an idea that would make it a bit more like a more varied offering, so that if you've got like family over or a few friends over for a birthday celebration, that there's something for everyone. Mm-hmm. So I do like a smaller celebration cake decorated with bro nuts and the fondant biscuits to give personalisation. So I use the fondant biscuits to put the name of the recipient and maybe the age if they want it. Happy birthday. And I've even incorporated things like their hobbies using the fondant biscuits. And then sometimes there's like NYC cookies stacked up around the cake and everything, and blondies and brownies. So wow. It sort of suits like a wide range of tastes, and there's never any waste.
That's good, isn't it though? Like there's something for everyone on it, because I like, even obviously like I'm a cake maker as well, and we make cakes for the kids' birthdays, but I don't know if they're just sick of always having cake, but nobody ever finishes the cake, and we'll cut it up and we'll give it to all the neighbours. But if you've got something that everyone can have a piece of, it's going to impress everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an idea.
Yeah, the kids like it as well because it's like ready to go in their lunch boxes and things like that.
Yeah, it is a good idea. So when you have to spend it cutting it. Sorry, we're talking over. This is the thing when you do something on like a Zoom type thing, isn't it? It's different being in person. But what I was going to say, what we've asked other people is like, when you're setting up for your day of bacon, what is your drink of choice?
So I always start the day with a coffee or two, and then it's just like water right out of the way, like during the day. So then, and then obviously if the day's gone well, then I might treat myself to a glass of wine or a G&T at the end of the day.
Will you be having a glass of wine today?
I'm all honestly, after the morning I've had, I'm already having a drink.
Love it,
I
absolutely
was
love it.
like, I wasn't particularly nervous about talking to you two, but I just feel like, you know, the day hasn't gone that well. So I was just like, I need something to like calm me down a bit. I was feeling a bit sorry for myself.
Oh, yeah, that's so funny, but it's real, isn't it? Like when
It
you have a
is.
like a rubbishy
Yeah.
day, and you sometimes do just need a bit of a glass of
I've
wine.
always got a glass of wine when I do my baking lives in the group. I feel like I always have a glass of wine in my hand. And sometimes I think, what
Was it?
people think? But yeah, we'll just let it
Who,
keep it real.
who was it that said that they drink their wine out of a cup to pretend that they're drinking a cup of tea?
Ah,
Someone say that actually it rings a bell. Someone must have said it when we've been together.
yeah.
It is funny though, isn't
I might
it?
have to start doing that.
Yeah, they'll be like, Joy, you all right?
Yeah, I'll put it in my
Where's
bacon
your-
boss's cup and they'll be like, where's your glass of wine?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a night off.
We should get Bacon Boss's wine glasses,
Yeah.
shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. What
That
a
would be
good
good,
idea.
I know. Right, so what we're getting every guest to do is to share a confession of some kind. Obviously, we're called Confessions of a Bacon Boss. So something that's either funny or shocking or just something honest about your bacon life. So, like, what do you think your confession would be?
So I'm quite lucky that so far, I'm going to jinx myself now, I'm touching wood. So far, I haven't had any like major mishaps for customers or anything. But before I started my bakery, I was doing some Easter baking. So this must have been like 2023. Doing some Easter baking, and I was baking things like cheese scones, fruit scones, cupcakes to go visiting family. Sort of they live like 2.5 hours away, so I was taking them. I was going to visit one relative on the way, and then I was taking the rest on with me to have a get together. And I was trying to sort of like help my mum out from having to entertain everyone and provide all the food and stress about it and stuff. So I'd got this like great idea that I was going to like basically turn up with all this food ready to just, you know, dig into. And then I suddenly realised, so I'd got my cupcakes made. I think some of my scones are still in the oven. The other scones were on the tray, cooling on the side. And I suddenly realised something really bad had gone wrong. So I was wearing this hoodie here, okay,
Oh no.
and look what I lost.
Oh no.
Metal. The first thing I thought of was, I'm always really paranoid about, you know, doing anything wrong or, you know, making anyone poorly or causing, you know, someone's tooth to break or choke or whatever. And we were going to see my nan on the way with cakes for her, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, it would be just my luck that she will bite into the cake and find it. So my son had recently got into metal detecting.
So for anyone,
So I had to.
it's the little like toggle on the end of the
Yeah,
The
sorry,
hoodie,
yeah. So it's the
Simona's
metal,
like got a
yeah,
hoodie.
metal toggle.
yeah.
So I went to the garage and got his metal detector out, and I checked that the remaining toggle would in fact be picked up by the metal detector.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, it was picked up by the metal detector.
Really?
So
What an amazing, like, I would never have thought of that.
So then, like, I've got my husband like to come in the kitchen and help me, and we were going to start like basically, obviously, like scanning the food, but obviously everything was still on metal trays from going in the oven, so we had to transfer everything onto plates. So that all along the side in the kitchen, everything was just like turfed out onto plates. And we're going, like, we put a plastic bag around the end of the metal detector so that nothing could fall onto the food or anything. We were just like going along, scanning everything. And fortunately, we never found it. And then, so we carried on, and like everyone had the food and everything was fine until like a few days later when I was putting some like clothes into the tumble dryer, and I found the other toggle, like the missing bit on the floor by the tumble dryer.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. I can't believe that you would
although
go
we
with like a
scanned
metal
everything,
detector,
we're like
have a look at
watching
each
every
one.
guess.
Brilliant. I love
So
it.
yeah, I'm really paranoid about stuff like that.
You couldn't write it, could you?
No,
But that is a
no.
good story though. Right. So,
So you have been immersed in food since childhood. Can you tell us about your early inspirations? What got you baking?
So baking wise, I remember making. Do you remember that we didn't used to really have cupcake cases when we were little? It was always like the fairy cake
Yeah,
cases.
the
And I
smaller one.
remember being, yeah, and like being on a stool in the kitchen, like, or standing on a chair, baking with my mum, and like, and her teaching me to like measure it all out and like use the back of your little finger to knock the like the batter, the cake batter into the cases and what have you. And it was always doing things like baking to take cakes like to school to share with my friends or for parties or like to take to the grandparents for a treat and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. But also I remember baking by myself in the kitchen from quite an early age. I think I was probably about 8 when I
wow.
started to just like get all the ingredients together and sort of have a go. So I don't think we used so much buttercream and stuff back then. It was more like putting fruit in the cakes, like fruit cakes and things,
Yeah.
fruity fairy cakes. But yeah, it was and then like my granddad is still absolutely obsessed with apple pie. So he literally has to eat apple pie every single day for his dessert. And so one of the first things I learnt to make was proper pastry and to make an apple pie for my granddad. And he's deaf in one ear. So we, as kids, we always used to forget which ear he was deaf in. And we would go up to him, whisper in his ear, like, apple pie, pop, pop. And like see if he could hear it. And then if we got the right ear, he'd like sort of like jump up and start like dancing around and getting really excited about the fact we made an apple pie for him. So
Oh,
yeah, I used to make those quite a lot, and then just like family meals with my mum or my dad or whoever was cooking. They both had and still have a really good reputation for being good chefs. My dad's had restaurants and things like that.
oh, wow.
So I always literally used to be surrounded by
Yeah.
cooking and
It's like
yeah.
almost being inevitable in a way that you've like become a baker if you're surrounded by all of that kind of inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my mum's more into like the Delia Smith style cooking, like traditional baking, and she's got her grandmother's recipe for Christmas cake and things like that. That's
Yeah.
been passed down through the family. I don't actually really like Christmas cake, so I'm not that fussed about making it.
Me too.
Same. I don't
Yeah.
like it. That's a
Well,
bit
I
of a
don't.
controversial opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
same. My mum always makes a Christmas cake as well. But yeah, I've never made one. I've
Not
never,
my cup of tea.
yeah, same. Have you made
yeah.
one, Simone, or have you had a go at making your grandma's recipe?
I have done years ago, but
Yeah,
not recently because no one in our house eats it
yeah.
either. Like my husband and the kids aren't really that bothered by it. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, mince pies though. So I also don't really like mince pies, apart from my mum's mince pies, which are made with orange pastry,
Oh.
and that recipe is to die for. It's really nice, but mainly I just eat it for the pastry.
That's a bit different, isn't it? But the same, I don't like mince pies either, and I
Yeah.
always feel like I'm in the minority. Like, I love a savoury mince pie, but I don't like the sweet mince pies.
Yeah, same.
No,
Yeah.
No. It's an
no.
acquired taste, I
Yeah.
think, isn't it?
But I always feel like I should buy them at Christmas because I feel like I'm missing out. So we always buy a box of mince pies and they just don't get eaten. But yeah, I'm the same.
The children always put them out for Santa and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for those of you that don't know who are listening, you trained as a primary school teacher, didn't you, Simona?
Yes, I did.
So, how do you think that, like, being a teacher has shaped the way that you approach baking and, like, running your business? Do you think it's had any impact on the way that you do things?
I think it's like the learning side of things and always experimenting and working out like how you can make something better and how you can make it your own. Because when I was teaching, I was constantly trying to make learning individual for the children, because I really enjoyed working with the children that were a bit trickier, who you had to tweak things for so that they got it. And I think baking's quite similar, like making small tweaks until you get it like exactly the right way it needs to be. Also, like I always noticed that when I was teaching, baking, like not just baking but any sort of cooking or anything to do with food was their favourite thing to do. And you could actually kind of get children engaged with you and with the learning when it's something that they're really interested in. And I think that I find it quite difficult to concentrate and keep my attention on something unless I'm really interested in it. And I'm really interested in baking and everything, so I literally go into my own world, and everything else is, well, you could ask my family, everything else is just kind of ignored when I'm in the kitchen baking.
So when did Flamazing Bakes go from being a passion or a hobby to a real business?
Well, that was your fault, Jo.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah. How long ago was it? I'm trying to think how long ago it actually was.
I watched your... so I saw you put a link to your page in another Facebook group that I followed. And so I joined your group. And I think a few weeks after I'd been in your group, you were advertising this masterclass about how, basically about how it's not as scary as people think to set up your own home bakery, and not to worry about things like environmental health and how to like get everything right and all that kind of thing. It was your Postal Bakes masterclass, I think.
Ah, yes. I think that was the first one I ever done, wasn't it?
But you covered loads of stuff in there. It was about an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I was basically just being nosy.
Yeah.
Like, as in, like, oh, how do people do this sort of thing? And then I was like, by the end of it, I was like, I could actually do that. I really want to do that. And I was using your biscuit recipe because we were all doing those paint your own Christmas biscuits. And I made like 50 boxes for my children's school for their Christmas fair.
I remember that.
And obviously, making 50 boxes, you have to plan everything and order everything in and be really structured and organised and make sure you've got, like, the school wanted the full ingredients list on the boxes, not just the allergens and everything. So I had to do it. And I was like, by the time I'd finished it, I was like, well, I'm doing all this for someone else. Why don't I do it for myself? Then the law also changed about you're not allowed to just get money for ingredients for people anymore unless you're a registered business. So I was like, well, I want to keep on baking and trying things, but I can't even like let people give me money for ingredients or anything. So I might as well register so that when people ask me, I can sort of keep doing it basically. And then it just went from there.
Yeah.
Isn't that mad? So did you know before like you came across Jo, did you never think like, oh, I want to turn this into a business and I want to earn some money from it?
People kept on saying to me, because I was making all the family birthday cakes and I used to bake a lot for school, for the school PTA, for events and things. People used to say, you should do this. And all I could see was all the red tape until I did Jo's masterclass. So I did think, yes, I would like to do it, but I just thought, oh, it's just too much hassle, you know. So the masterclass was the turning point for me.
Yeah, because then you realise, don't you, that it's not actually as hard as what you've made out in your head. It's just that like before you start doing something new, you build this picture up in your head that there's going to be so many barriers that you need to go past. Actually, if you just understand a bit more, they're not really as big barriers as what you think they are, sort of thing. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah, and it's like what you've both done with the Bake Boss Club now, breaking everything down into step-by-step process for everyone is really helpful. And, you know, if I had have had that like 2 years ago, it would have been even better. So
yeah. Oh well, I'm glad it's been helpful for someone. So obviously you've got Bake and you've got your Flamazing Bakes and all of the stuff that's going on with that, but you're also passionate about helping families to rediscover an actual joy of meal times, which sounds a little bit crazy to say when you've got kids and things like that, because I'm just picturing my kids at meal times, and it can get a bit crazy. But where did your focus come from for wanting to help families in this way?
So both my children eat really well, but they have gone through phases of not liking certain things, like, for example, fish, because they've had fish at school. That's not, with school dinners as the main thing that's put them off. So things that they would normally eat at home, they've decided like a blanket no to fish because the school fish and chips wasn't nice, a few times in a row sort of thing. Which is a bit frustrating because you want them to have like a healthy, balanced diet and not to be blocking out like whole food groups just because of like a bad experience and that sort of thing. And then I also noticed that for one of my children's birthday parties, my husband and I put out a spread for the children to enjoy, which was all things like sandwiches and sausage rolls, cocktail sausages, cheese and pineapple on sticks, and what have you. The sandwich fillings were sort of cheese, ham or jam, all things we thought that children would eat. And the kids just sat there, and apart from my child and one other child, they all just sat there and shared one bowl of plain ready salted crisps because none of them wanted to try anything.
Oh, God.
And I was a bit shocked that even like party food, kids are now being a bit kind of like, no, I don't like that. And I was like, well, where's all this coming from? And then I started to think, because since I opened the bakery, and obviously the kitchen's off limits sometimes, and you can't necessarily easily prepare the family meal at the right time the way you normally would if you weren't baking. And I suddenly started to realise that my children weren't eating as well as they used to since I started the business. They were, learning how to bake loads of things, and my daughter can decorate cupcakes nearly as well as me. But, they were starting to be a bit like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And then one day I took, on 2 separate occasions, I took each of the children shopping on their own with me, and going around the shop, and they were saying, oh, I like that, oh, should we try this, oh, what could we do with that? And they're actually like in the shop having a choice about what they're going to eat. So that instead of me just ordering the online shopping and saying this is this is the same sort of pattern of foods that we always have, and this is what I'm choosing, and this is what I know they'll eat, so I'll only buy those things, they were getting a choice of what they were going to eat and how we were going to make something with it. And all of a sudden, like, family meal times were less stressful again because they felt more in control. They were helping to make something. So I kind of want to use my baking as a way of helping families where children are really fussy with their eating to be sort of like, well, let's bake something together. First off, to get them into the idea of making food and enjoying it and sharing it, and then moving on to things like healthy snacks to the point where they're making meals for their family, and they're the ones that are like in control and in charge. They're the ones that are saying, well, mum and dad, this is what you're going to eat tonight. And the parents are eating something that the child prepared, and then there's no control issues over the food because the child is the one that's in control. And they're they're so excited, aren't they? Whenever they've made something, they're so excited to share it, and they're much more likely to eat something if they've made it themselves.
I totally agree with that. I think sometimes people can think, oh, it takes too long, or like, they don't trust the kids to be in control. But I would recommend giving it a go. Like, when we've made even just like pizzas with the kids, like, we'll make the dough, we'll let it rest, and like, they're learning why you need to do these things, so they're learning a bit about the whole process. And then you're letting them chop things and arrange things, and you're right that they just love it, don't they? Like, the little looks on their faces when they're doing something that they're gonna eat. It's priceless. I love it. It makes us dead proud when I do it with my kids.
We do the pizzas, and Parker always says, can I put your toppings on for you? And like, you don't want to say no, do you, because you're getting them involved. And in my head I'm like, no, I just want to put my own toppings on. And I go, yeah.
But it's funny though, isn't it? Like, I think it probably would help maybe it's people who have got fussy eaters. Obviously, like, we're not experts or anything like that, but what advice would you give to parents who are dealing with fussy eaters at home?
I would just say to get them involved and not to chop up the things they don't like into minuscule pieces, thinking that they will eat it, and that if you hide, because then you're taking the control back away from them. You're treating them like they're a bit silly. I had it done to me as a child. My mum used to chop up mushrooms and put them in my food. I'm actually allergic to mushrooms.
No.
I kept on saying to my mum, I don't like them and I feel poorly every time that I eat them. So she thought that if she hid them from me, I'd be fine. And it just made my allergy worse.
Oh my goodness. I think I'm a bit
Yeah.
I'll get the celery, like if we're making bolognese or something like that, and I'll be trying to chop the celery into the tiniest little pieces.
Yeah.
It's funny though, isn't it? Right, so we've nearly been talking for half an hour now. So what we're going to do is a couple of quick fire questions. So they're not stressful.
No.
They're all bacon related and they're dead fun. Right, so these are the same questions that we'll sort of get every guest to answer, but you will obviously give your spin on it. So, what's the last bake that you completely messed up?
Oh, well, it's not really a bake. Is that okay?
That's right, yeah.
I did toad in the hole the other day with egg whites only, because we'd made a carbonara before then, and we wanted to like find something to use the egg whites for.
Oh no! And did it not work?
It was all right. It was all right, but it was literally like really stodgy. So my husband really enjoyed it because he likes really stodgy food. But the rest of us were like, oh, that seems really raw. It's not very nice. It's a bit rubbery.
I love that you're like not having any waste and finding a way to use things up.
Yeah.
I love trying to do that. It's a bit of like a competition.
There's only so many pavlovas that you can make.
True. Right, what's your favourite flavour that you'd happily bake forever?
Oh, I love it. I love things that have like caramel and toffee and things like that in. Millionaire shortbread is my absolute favourite.
Yes, I agree.
Is there a bacon trend at the minute that you just wish would disappear?
Ooh, it's all about Labubus at the minute, isn't it?
I knew that you were going to say that. To be honest, I wish that would disappear.
I don't mind them, but they're a bit scary looking, aren't they?
I know.
And, yeah.
That's like the only one I can
like,
think of, really, because they're everywhere at the minute. Like, I mean, they're maybe a little bit old hat now, do you think? Because they've been around for a couple of months, but I do see them pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah. And then the last one.
So what's the biggest splurge you've had for your kitchen?
Ooh, I think it's just literally the kitchen itself, because we knocked the wall down in between the kitchen and the dining room and had a new kitchen put in, which gives me loads more space for baking and everything. But it is a bit trickier because of them being all in one room together in terms of like keeping the family out.
Yeah, I know, that's a bit hard, isn't it? Okay, so then they're the quickfire questions, but these are two more things that we're asking everyone as well, sort of like a bit longer. So it's a bit reflection as well. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to a baker who wants to set up and start their business? Like what's one thing based on your experience that you would say to them?
I would say to base your prices on your costs and paying yourself what you're worth according to your skill level, and not just looking around at seeing roughly what other people charge, but not just choosing to price your bakes at someone else's price, because your costs and your ingredients might be different.
So looking as in sometimes research rather than actually basing your cost on someone else's. Yeah, I know it's quite huge, isn't it, that people still try to do that, don't they?
Yeah, so I think you need to like know your worth and stick to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what's one of the biggest things you've learned since you've started running Flamazing Bakes? Something that you've learned that you'd like to pass on to another baker?
everything always takes longer than I expect it to.
Good one. Yeah.
Not everything. Decorating and packaging up postal bakes and things like that. I did learn last week that I can actually get bakes baked, cooled, decorated and in the post in 2 hours, which I was quite impressed with, but it was a bit stressful.
I'm not surprised. It's a bit of a process, that, isn't it?
That was just for a family member, so I didn't have to worry too much about all the labels. No, it was mini. You know those mini loaf cakes?
Yeah.
In the tins with the lid, with the clear lid. It was rhubarb crumble cake, plum crumble cake, and then some lemon drizzle cakes. I had to choose things that didn't have buttercream on because the weather was still a bit warm.
They sound delicious, don't they?
Yeah.
Very nice. Right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Symona, for coming on and talking to her in the early days of our Confessions of a Baking Boss podcast. It's been lovely. So where can people find you online if they want to see your Flamazing Bakes?
So I have Facebook and Instagram under the name of Flamazing Bakes. I do have a Sum Up store which needs updating a bit, so I wouldn't go there just now. Mainly Facebook.
Fab. So
and also Etsy as well. I did actually, thanks to some great advice from Jo, I did get my Etsy store up and running for the teacher gifts in July, and they did really, really well. So there's nothing at the moment, but
absolutely.
Brilliant. So people can land on your Facebook or on your Instagram page, and then I'm sure they'll be able to find your Etsy from there. But they're just looking out for Flamazing Bakes, so that's brilliant.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, so for our listeners, don't forget to follow so you don't miss the next confession of our next Bacon Boss.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bacon Bosses podcast. If this episode has helped or made you feel less alone, please subscribe, leave a review or share it with another baker, because it really does help the podcast and us reach more people. If you're somebody who's looking for some free support, you can find our Facebook community by searching UK Home Baking Support, Hobby Bakers and Beginners. It's a really welcoming space for bakers at every single stage of their journey, including new hobby bakers out there. You'll also find the option to leave your email so that we can send you some free resources to help you on your baking journey. And if you want ongoing support beyond that, Bacon Bosses is the community behind the podcast, with our Bake Boss Club membership for bakers who want to grow on their terms. All of the links are in the show notes, and we're just really glad that you've listened to the podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.